teams, Nick Hague, Don Pettit, and Butch Wilmore. They are conducting other maintenance activities and scientific work inside the International Space Station. Their conversations being monitored with spacecraft communicator and astronaut Caleb Barron here in the Space Station Flight Control Room here in Houston.
If it goes to 0.20, you may go into repress to 0.26, and we can do it now. Yes, let's switch ISS to repress, and you repress to 0.06. We have repress 0.06. Okay, switching it back. It's 0.07. Okay, and you may do it again before the end of the pre-breathe.
As you hear, the two cosmonauts inside the Poisk airlock are in the process of completing their pre-breathe of pure oxygen, managing the pressure inside the Poisk module in advance of depressurizing the module airlock itself down to vacuum. That will set the stage for them to open up the hatch after placing their suits on internal battery power, with the hatch opening marking the official start of today's spacewalk. The International Space Station and its crew members are currently flying 260 miles over the southeastern Indian Ocean, just off the coast, the southern coast of Australia, flying in a trajectory from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. The two cosmonauts of Chinen and Wagner will be working mostly in the vicinity of the Poisk module once they exit the hatch to the airlock of Poisk, as well as two sides, if you will, or planes of the Zvezda service module, where a number of these experiments are located. They also, again, will be waiting for Gorbanov inside to maneuver the European robotic arm. This is the 37-foot-long robotic arm that was launched with the Naoka Multipurpose Laboratory Module in July of 2021. This arm, which is operational, will be used significantly toward the end of the spacewalk today in maneuvering Ovchinin around. This is the first time that a cosmonaut will have had his feet planted on a foot restraint at the end of the robotic arm for operations, most notably to position Ovchinin for the eventual jettisoning of 7 items that will be bundled up in a single bundle. That jettison will occur aft of the station, with its trajectory not having been evaluated to prevent any possibility of a recontact with the International Space Station.
Why do I have the tone? What kind of tone?
The space station about to cross the southern coast of Australia. We have moved into an orbital sunset. This track will carry the space station and its crew members across the Pacific Ocean and back into daylight a short time from now.
Вань, там по сигнализации может
so for the tone, you may have to indicator occasionally, but if no message is shown, then everything is okay. It's just, it happens sometimes. It catches something and then just immediately stops. It's just when I actively moving, it starts picking something up. Shall we do the cooling? Shall we cool down? So, prior to going to battery power, we'll switch it to 6. And we shouldn't be doing it now because we'll be depressing the airlock and then leak checking the...
While the cosmonauts are completing their pre-breathe activities prior to putting their suits on battery power following the depressurization of the Poisk airlock a short time from now, you're looking inside the Columbus module of the International Space Station. 2 NASA astronauts, Don Pettit on your left, Butch Wilmore on your right. They're busy with experiment activity, setting up cameras for one of the experiments in the Columbus module of the International Space Station. So even though the spacewalk is the dominant feature of today's work on board Expedition 72, experiment and maintenance activity is continuing. And again, this view from a balcony camera in the Russian Mission Control Center in the town of Korolyov on the outskirts of Moscow, as Russian flight controllers in charge of today's spacewalk prepare for the depressurization of the Poisk airlock and the beginning of today's spacewalk by Ovchinin and Wagner that will be measured at the point of the Poisk's airlock hatch opening.
minut do конца desaturacji. 6:30, 6 minutes 30 seconds till the end of pre-breathe.
Once the pre-breathe procedure, this is a common procedure in which the two spacewalkers are breathing pure oxygen to cleanse their bodies of any nitrogen in their bloodstreams. Once that's complete, the Russian flight controllers will give the go to begin the depressurization of the Poisk airlock. This is done in a two-step fashion so that final leak checks and communications checks with the two spacewalkers can be accomplished prior to the time that they would transition their Orlan suits to autonomous power, battery power if you will. That is the precursor to the opening of the hatch and the start of today's spacewalk. It is expected to last approximately 6 hours and 45 minutes or so. We'll see how the work progresses and keep you up to date on the phased elapsed time, the elapsed time of today's spacewalk. That will begin once we receive the official confirmation from the Russian flight controllers on what they are measuring the elapsed time from at the start of hatch opening. Again, a variety of tasks on tap for Ovchinin and Wagner. The installation of a X-ray experiment that will be installed on the outside of the service module. The remover of connector patch panels from 2 workstations on 2 sides of the service module itself, and the installation of new patch panels with the old ones earmarked for being discarded or jettisoned in a bundle at the end of today's spacewalk. The 2 cosmonauts will also remove a series of material science and biological panels that have been affixed to the outside of the Poisk module, gathering data, and will relocate a control panel on the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module from one location to what is called the launch base point, to which one end effector of the 37-foot-long European robotic arm is attached.
Дим, 3 минуты до конца детатурации.
Хорошо, давай тогда
All right.
пробежимся по шагу 9.1.
Let us work on step 9.1 for pre-brief.
Поехали.
Let's start.
Пневмокран отключен.
O2 flow selector is off, OFF.
Регулятор основной. Баллон основной.
Primary regulator, primary
Основной
O2
регулятор,
tank,
основной насос.
primary fan, primary pump,
Так, основной передатчик.
and primary transmitter.
БСС, десатурация, сброс отсека.
On Orlan interface unit, pre-breathe and airlock depress.
Открыт бленкер О2 open.
O2 vent open.
Да, все совпадает.
Yes, everything correct.
Хорошо, тогда, Леш, по моей команде по
Now,
окончании
Леша,
детатурации начнем с пункта 9.2.
when you are done with pre-breathe,
Счетчик
we'll
обнулится,
go
сразу
to
говорим.
9.2. And you may reset the counter.
2 минуты до конца.
Will do, and actually I have 3 minutes to go. Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston, the International Space Station, flying off the northeast coast of Australia, moving from southwest to northeast across the southwestern Pacific Ocean at this hour. The crew members on board the station working on a variety of tasks. As far as the 2 spacewalkers are concerned, they're in the final stages of their pre-breathe activities in the Poisk airlock, suited up in their Orlan suits. Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner ready to begin the depressurization of the Poisk airlock and the start of today's spacewalk, dubbed Russian Spacewalk 63. And as mentioned before, inside the space station on the left, Don Pettit, on the right, Butch Wilmore, working on experiment activity and the setup of cameras and other equipment in the Columbus module as research continues on board the complex, even as the two Russian Roscosmos cosmonauts prepare for today's 6-hour, 45-minute excursion.
The timer for pre-breathe is reset. Copy.
Так, готовы включить инжектор.
Ready to activate the injector. O2 flow selected to injector position, please. And you will see a counter, the timer starting for 5 minutes in the top right corner. And injector LED is illuminated. And now pressure relief valve of SOPHO needs to be open and monitor the pressure in the suit. 530 is now pressure in the compartment. Pressure in the suit is 02. 500 in the compartment and 0.25 in my suit. 470 and 03. Copy. 440 and 0.35. Copy. 0.39. 400 in the compartment and 0.38 in the Orlan suit. Copy.
Так, при давлении 300,
At pressure of 350. Yes, at that time you may open the KSD2, the pressure relief valve number 2. Check O2 flow selector. Check in. And suit pressure 0.38.
И контролируем, что должно прийти сообщение около 100 миллиметров, что при
Now stand by for message of pressure in MRM2 of 100 millimeters and then report to the ground.
Так, давление в отсеке 270.
Right now the pressure is 270 and 0.38 in the suit. Copy.
В отсеке 230.
230.
Скафандре 0.38.
This is Mission Control. The pre-breathe of pure oxygen is now complete for the two cosmonauts in the Poisk airlock. Depressurization of the Poisk airlock is beginning. This will take a few minutes to accomplish. The crew running just a few minutes behind their pre-spacewalk timeline.
1 minute.
And we'll keep you updated as the depressurization down to vacuum continues. That will set the stage for the two cosmonauts, Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner, to place their suits on battery power and then to open the hatch to the Poisk airlock to mark the start of today's spacewalk.
Pressure is 180 in MRM2 and pressure in the suit is 0.38 and the same for EV2. Copy.
В отсеке 150.
150 in MRM2 and 0.38 in the suit. Copy 0.38.
Отсеки 120.
120 in MRM2 and 0.38 in Orlan suit.
Хорошо.
Copy. Very good. And 8 seconds to injector deactivation. Copy.
Включение, ребят, важно отключить и покачать, убедиться, что в фиксированном положении отключенном и индикация инжектор на остеклении не горит.
And after the injector is turned off, then please check if on your collimator, on the visor, there is any indication of injector.
На экранах скафандров.
Check if there is a message for injector on your suit display. I now have 0.37 in the suit.
Once today's spacewalk begins, it will mark the second spacewalk for Alexei Ovchinin and the first for Ivan Wagner. Ovchinin conducted the first spacewalk of his career back in May of 2019 with Oleg Kononenko, a 6-hour, 1-minute spacewalk in which the two cosmonauts installed handrails on the Russian segment near the Poisk module and removed and replaced a number of experiments on the exterior of the Russian segment.
Alexei, what is the pressure per vacuum gauge now? 70, copy. Good. Now the pressure is 60 per vacuum gauge and pressure in the suit is 0.37. Copy. Now the pressure in the suit is 0.36. Copy.
Давление в отсеке 50.
Now the pressure is 50 in MRM2 and pressure in the suit is 0.36. Copy.
Давление в отсеке 40.
Pressure in MRM2 is 40. Pressure in the suit is
Леш, у тебя пока
inaudible.
нету сообщения, да? В подстрочке там ничего не написано в нижнем левом углу.
Alexei, in the bottom left corner of your display, do you have any message now? No.
Да, здесь у тебя чуть попозже срабатывает, ближе
Your
к 20.
indication is slower.
Сейчас сработало
Okay,
при давлении, что 20.
I see it now.
Открыто ВКД.
Now there is pressure of 20 in MRM2 and O2 open EVA indication. I have it now. Okay, and Ivan, what do you have now? 0.39. So 20 millimeters per vacuum gauge, so you should have O2 open EVA
Принято.
on online interface unit display. Yes, copy.
Давление 25.
Pressure is 25. In the compartment and in the suit, the pressure is 0.35.5. Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston. If you're just joining us, two Roscosmos cosmonauts, Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner, are suited up in their Russian Orlan spacesuits in the airlock of the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station, as they have completed the pre-breathe of pure oxygen to cleanse nitrogen out of their bloodstreams, and are in the process of depressurizing the atmosphere in the Poisk airlock down to vacuum in advance of the opening of the hatch to Poisk to begin a planned 6-hour, 45-minute spacewalk in which they will install an X-ray experiment package on the outside of the Russian segment, remove and replace a series of connector patch panels for electrical connections on the Zvezda service module, remove several material science and biological sample experiments from the outside of the service module and the exterior of the Poisk module, and relocate a control panel from one area to another at the base of the Naoka multipurpose laboratory module that governs the operation of the European robotic arm, the 37-foot-long arm that is attached to Naoka and which will be operated today by cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov from a workstation inside the Russian segment. This will be the 272nd spacewalk in support of space station assembly maintenance and upgrades, the third spacewalk conducted out of the International Space Station this year, the first for Expedition 72, the second for Ovchinin, who is going to be wearing the Orlan suit bearing the red stripes as extravehicular crew member number 1. This will be the first spacewalk for Ivan Wagner, who will be wearing the Orlan suit with the blue stripes.
Давление 12.
Pressure is 12, 1, 2. Opening caster 2. Pressure release valve. And closing caster SO. Copy.
При закрытии КСДСО текущее давление в шлюзе. Скажи, пожалуйста, по манометру.
Okay, now that the SO is closed, please tell me the pressure per vacuum gauge. Stand by.
Текущее давление 8 миллиметров.
8 millimeters is the current pressure. And both KSD pressure relief valves are closed. Yes, they are. Stand by for 5 minutes. And then we will do final leak check of MRM2. And you may get ready for that. That will be step 10. MRM2 final leak check. Copy.
Так, засекаем, да? Что? 5 минут засекаем.
Okay, starting the timer for 5 minutes. Copy.
Everything quiet on the loops here in Mission Control in Houston, as well as the Russian flight control team's loops. In this balcony view of the Russian mission control room in their control center outside of Moscow, as the depressurization of the Poisk airlock continues. We're expecting that to be completed in the next few minutes, with a final communications and suit leak check to be conducted before the two cosmonauts, Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner, place their suits on battery power prior to opening the hatch to Poisk to begin their spacewalk for today.
Я прикрыл. Я открыт этот. Алло.
Inaudible.
The space station is flying without any issues, 260 statute miles above the Earth, flying at the moment over the northern Pacific Ocean in a southwest to northeasterly trajectory that will carry the complex and its crew members over the Pacific coast north of Vancouver and Calgary, across southern Canada, and then back out over the northeastern United States between New York City and Boston.
Леш, скажи, пожалуйста, текущее давление
Леша,
Мими-2 по
what's the current pressure in MRM2, please?
Текущее давление 9 миллиметров.
9 millimeters is the current pressure. Copy.
Пять минут контроля прошло, Леш.
5-minute timer has elapsed. Report the pressure, please. 9 millimeters.
Мы в допуске меньше 2
Copy.
миллиметров.
It's
Можно
within
выходить и начинать
the
работу
tolerance.
по континенту 7, шаг 11, переход на автономное питание. Можно работать.
You may proceed to go into autonomous power and temperature control handle to 6. Copy. Temperature control handle is in position 6.
Основной насос, вентилятор.
Now primary pump, primary fan, primary transmitter, yes. And the background.
This is Mission Control Houston, a view of the Naoka multi-purpose laboratory module from external cameras on the International Space Station. We are moving back into a daylight pass over the Earth. Right in the middle of your screen, you can see part of the European robotic arm that is at the base of the Naoka module. This is a 7 joint arm that extends for when it's fully extended to 37 feet in length. At the very top of your screen on the right side, that bulbous module is the Prishal multi-node module, a docking port for Russian visiting vehicles. The European robotic arm will be operated today by Alexander Gorbanov from a workstation inside the Russian segment. Later in today's spacewalk to move Alexei Ovchinin around into position for the jettisoning of a bundle of items to be discarded that will occur near the end of today's spacewalk, which is scheduled to begin shortly. Final leak checks of the cosmonauts' suits in the Poisk airlock is underway, with the depressurization of the airlock almost complete.
Okay, on the support panel, disconnect the heat exchanger, power. This is on top.
Once the hatch to the Poisk module is open, the cosmonauts will install a protective ring around the circumference of the hatch just to protect it against any micrometeoroid debris hits that might occur during the spacewalk. Wagner will be the first to exit the Poisk airlock. He will adapt himself to the spacewalk environment for a few minutes, this being the first spacewalk of his career. He will take some of the equipment and a bundle of tools, tethers, and hardware outside on a handoff from Ovchinin before Ovchinin himself moves outside of the airlock to begin positioning themselves at their first work site along the Zvezda service module to install the container that houses the all-sky monitoring experiment. That experiment is designed to detect, record, and downlink X-ray celestial sources with the monitoring of celestial X-ray emissions, the imaging of the Earth, the investigation of spectral characteristics of radiation, and to investigate the radiation background of X-ray sources against the backdrop of the Earth itself. This is the view of the Poisk module itself. We will be seeing the two cosmonauts emerging from the airlock a short time from now. They're running a few minutes behind schedule. The cosmonauts will be easily identified once outside, with Ovchinin wearing the Orlan suit bearing the red stripes, Wagner the Orlan suit with the blue stripes.
Okay, now umbilical. Yes, disconnect. And after you disconnect it from the suit, then you can. Inaudible. What did you say? Okay, umbilical is disconnected from the suit, and then Orlan interface unit to a closed position. Okay, let me reach here.
Давай.
It seems to be too far away.
Так, а мне, наверное, несколько тяжело будет сейчас поставить. У тебя там пока ноги.
Maybe too difficult to be here.
Ощущение нормально.
It's fine, actually.
И потом как подстыкую.
And then once you hook it up, put it to O2 closed. I mean the BSS to O2 closed. Copy.
Правильно понимаю, что
Alexei, do I understand it correctly that both online interface units, both umbilicals are disconnected and in direct config? Yes, that's correct. And the BSS online interface unit handle is in O2 closed, all right? And what are you seeing on the Orlan pressure gauge now for EV1 0.36, EV2 0.36.5?
по дисплею?
Первый 417.
And what are you seeing on your display again? EV1 417, EV2 408.
Ну что, ребят, я вас...
All right, that's great. I'm going to hand it over to Artyom, and I'm going to talk to you during repress. Yes, thank you.
And as you can hear, the depressurization of the Poisk airlock is complete. The two cosmonauts about to transition their suits to battery power and then open the hatch to the airlock to begin today's spacewalk.
How are you feeling today? Are you ready to work?
Что?
What did you say?
Настроение
Плохо
рабочее.
слышу тебя.
How are you doing today? In the mood to get some work done? Yes, we are. That's great.
В целом добро на начало работы по открытию.
And we are approved to start hatch opening.
Начать работу.
So you're gonna
Первым делом мне нужно от вас подтвердить,
go ahead and get started.
все зафиксированы.
Please confirm that all the hardware and tools are secured.
Да, все зафиксировано.
Yes,
И оборудование.
everything is secured. All the tools and equipment
Скафандры тоже
are
зафиксированы
secured.
страховочным файлом.
And make sure that you are tethered, that both of your suits are tethered.
Да, у меня завтра.
Yes, for EV1 and yes for EV2. Copy.
Тогда предлагаю начать открывать люк.
In that case, you can start opening the hatch. Please get the hatch tool
В рабочее положение.
and put it in operating position.
Да, винты аварийного открытия
And the emergency opening screws should be fully released, fully unscrewed, threaded out. Yes.
This is Mission Control Houston. Depressurization of the Poisk airlock complete. The two cosmonauts have now placed their suits on battery power and we're standing by for the opening of the hatch to Poisk to begin today's spacewalk.
There's this bundle here, so be careful with it. Pull it towards yourself. All the screws are out, and both latches are opposite each other. Copy, and your go for hatch to ops. Stand by.
Давай.
All right, let's do it. Okay.
Так, ключ установил.
Hatch 2 is in position.
Он в рабочем положении.
Copy. Is it in operating? Yes. And I'm going to start opening it. Yes, you go for rotation.
Так, выходит. Ролики.
All right, so the rollers are coming out. Copy.
Будет полетит наружу. Так.
Unintelligible.
Есть, сработало.
It actuated.
Ключ оставляю, так?
Should I keep the hatch still like this? Yes.
Теперь ручку толкателя надо держать.
And the please hold the pusher handle until the full pressure drop, and when you see the hatch just slightly open, please report. All right, so the pusher handle, yes, I can see the opening.
Как принял, Артем?
Artyom, how copy?
Есть щель, все, время ВКД пошло.
All right, so hatch is open. EVA time starts now.
Карабин переменной длины.
Open the hatch. Please release the hook from the handrail and hand it over to Alexei. This is panel 201.
Так, хорошо.
All right.
Взял? Взял.
Are you holding it? Holding it.
Он распустим вот так.
Okay, let's release it like this. Stand by.
Так, зацепился теперь. Сделаем.
Let me untangle it and straighten it out.
Да без разницы.
It doesn't matter, Ivan.
Оставляй.
Just keep it like this.
Открываем.
Open it.
Это открывай.
Yes, you're going to open it.
Так, он пока не хочет. Погоди, внизу.
This is Mission Control Houston. The hatch is now open to the airlock on the Poisk module.
Is it on the way? No,
Spacewalk 63, the Russian Spacewalk 63, officially underway.
that's done.
The official start time of today's spacewalk, 9:36 a.m. Central Time, 10:36 a.m. Eastern Time. Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner will be emerging from the airlock a short time from now. Wagner will be the first to move out of the airlock as the two cosmonauts work to install a protective ring around the circumference of that airlock hatch. Again, the official start time for today's spacewalk, 9:36 a.m. Central, 10:36 a.m. Eastern Time. The view you're looking at is the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the station. This is not Poisk. At the very top of your screen is the Prishal multi-node module, a docking port for arriving Russian vehicles. And at the bottom is the Naoka multi-purpose laboratory module that was launched in July of 2021. And at the very bottom of your screen, you can see one of the end effector areas of the European robotic arm that will be used under the operation of Alexander Gorbanov from a workstation inside Naoka later in today's spacewalk to maneuver Alexei Ovchinin, who will be the first crew member, first cosmonaut to actually plant his feet in a foot restraint at the end of the European robotic arm to be maneuvered around the vicinity of the work sites of the International Space Station's Russian segment.
Wait. Right there it is. Let's try this direction. Beautiful. Beautiful it is. Breathtaking.
Так, зацепил карабин.
Okay, the hook is attached.
А ты пока доставай защитное кольцо.
Ivan, go ahead and retrieve the protective ring. This is Alexei. EV hatch is open and secured, and the tether slack is also gone. It's retracted. All right, and you'll go for protective ring ops.
Установки кольца. Смотрите, что надо совместить белые риски.
For reinstall, make sure that the white markings are aligned with the black markings on the hatch cover, and make sure that the lanyard, the safety lanyard, is not in the way. All right, the ring.
Где ты видишь?
Can you see?
Нет. Сейчас, да, я вниз уйду. Там.
Stand by. Let me move down.
Так, проверну, наверное.
All right, I guess I'm gonna have to turn it.
Так, нашел метку.
All right, I see the marks.
Так, чуть-чуть, куда? Против часовой.
Counterclockwise.